welcome to another episode of XenoChat. I am Tyler, the host, along with Justin.
Hey, everyone.
And we got a few guests with us today. First up, we have Kat.
Oh, hi.
And we got B.
Hello.
And we have Anthony.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, so today we are going to talk about something that I've been wanting to discuss for a long time, and basically the characters that Takahashi forgot about. I mean, just characters throughout all of Xeno that we wish got a little more attention, a little more spotlight than they did. Some of them are extremely minor, and then others might be some major characters that we just wish we got just a little bit more to feel satisfied. So, today's episode is going to run a little bit differently. So, I'm going to ask a question, and we're going to just take turns with each person bringing up a character, because we have a document full of characters from Xenogears, Xenosaga, and the Xenoblade games. And we're just going to go take turns, grab a character from the list and say why they weren't as get the attention that they needed, and maybe explain how we would make them a little bit better. So to start off, I'm going to ask a question. So when was the last time you guys played a Xeno game? Whoever was the most recent will go first.
I was playing Xenoblade 3. It was 1 week ago yesterday.
I'm at months now. I lose. I'm the biggest loser here.
No, you're not. It's been months for me too.
No, it's been months ever since I got my Steam Deck.
Same. I mean, I finished Blade 3 and I stepped away from it.
Okay. All right, then I guess our winner here is Anthony, and you get to go first and choose a character from our list.
Fantastic! All right. I'm just going to go ahead and start off with my biggest pet peeve, which was Guernica Vandham, which I get that he was very important to the plot in Xenoblade 3, did something crucial to for the characters, and I don't know. I hate that he died so quick. It really does feel like Takahashi said, kill Vandham any percent, no glitch, let's go. And it just it's incredibly frustrating because they brought back the same voice actor from Xenoblade 2, and I really like that performance for Vandham, and I was really excited to hear that it was the same voice, and I was just really excited. It was like another Vandham, and I'm thinking they're gonna build him up to be this big lovable guy like they did in Xenoblade 2, and it's gonna be awesome, and he's dead. And it's just that's just frustrating. I mean, I would have liked to see more. I only get to hear about him third party, but I like to see. I don't like to. I like show, not tell, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's all I really have to say on Guernica.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't have much to add to that. We don't really see much of him. We are told a lot about him. I don't know if maybe the DLC will help with that. It'd be kind of nice if he kind of shows up in there. I don't know what they're gonna do with the DLC. Honestly, just so many different things that it could be about at this point.
So
I agree. As soon as that character came out, I was excited to see okay, this is going to be. It was clearly an older character, and I was like, all right, this older character is going to show him how the world really is, which essentially he did, but his life was cut so short.
Yeah.
I wish he had a little bit more time, like they did with Vandham and 2, and just show them the ropes and whatnot. But it was like, cut the cord. Yeah, again, I agree with Anthony. A little bit more would have been nice.
Wouldn't it be funny if Vandam becomes the Watanabe of the Xeno series? Shout out to those of you who play Live Alive.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Kat, what do you have to say?
I'm generally in agreement with everybody else because there has been a Vandam. There's been a VAN character in every Xeno chapter or Xeno title. They used to do Vanderkram or Vanderkalm. It keeps on getting smushed, and then once they bopped to Xenoblade, it became Vandam, and I think this is one of the shortest lived Vandams as far as like introduction to death.
Yeah.
Which sucks and I hate it. And he seemed like a genuinely good guy and he shouldn't have died right away. Emo. Just emo.
Yeah. I agree. Which also, Anthony, I had no idea it was the same voice actor. And not that I didn't believe you, but I just double checked and you're right. It's Simon Thorpe for both. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I've got an ear for these things. And
Nice.
Vandam from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was far and away my favorite character. Like, I loved that character, and when he spoilers, when he dies in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, like, I just felt like I had been hit in the fucking gut with a baseball bat, and I didn't even like I wanted to put the game down and walk away from it for a little while because like I was crushed. I just met this character at the beginning of this chapter. I fall in love with him. He's great. I just like love everything about him. And then he dies. And then I'm like, all right, we're killing Malos. I don't care. I'm gonna, if I've never written fan fiction before, but if Malos walks away from this alive, I'm writing my own fiction where he dies.
Good for you.
Well, yeah. For Vandam from Xenoblade 3, I did kind of like the aspect of, I don't know, how he kind of like lives on through like stories that people tell about him and through his daughter and granddaughter. But yeah, he died way too quickly. Maybe let him live a little bit longer than he did, but yeah, good choice. All right, who wants to go next? Raise your hand. B, you were first. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm gonna choose one of the more ambiguous ones, which is the Salvagers in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Rex always talks about the Salvagers code or when he worked with the Salvagers. We did see a little bit of possibly Salvagers when they were going into the wreck to essentially extract Pyra. But I wish there was a little bit more to that storyline, that backstory about who were these Salvagers and how did they shape Rex as a character. Because Rex is really goody two shoes, and I would imagine these Salvagers were like, drunken miners, for lack of a better term. Even if they were like, little side quests here and there about, oh, hey, Rex, I see you're doing well. I have a quest for you. Back from Salvager days, remember me? Like, just something to indicate he had a little bit more of a past with these Salvagers, because he talks so much about it and the Salvagers code and, how to treat a lady. But there was nothing in the game to further that story there. So I'd like your thoughts on that one. Go for it, Kat.
All right. So I am in complete agreement with you. I really wish that they had, like, because he's not really from outer space or anything, but he does sort of like have the Clark Kent angle about him. Like somebody taught him right, and we know who taught Malos wrong. It was Amalthus. But we don't have that for Rex, and I think we have like one NPC. She's the lady that we meet, but like there's gotta, like, having Rex spend more time with his crew would have definitely helped to uh flesh out his character.
Mm-hmm. It also would have been kind of interesting if we got to see Rex interact with other salvagers at like the canteen or something like that. Like, wouldn't it be kind of interesting if like Rex was out with a bunch of other older salvagers and they're all trying to get a drink, and Rex is like, "No, I can't drink because I'm too young." Like,
Or
give us
if
a
he-
nice little scene like that.
Or if he had like a rival salvager.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been kind of cool.
Oh, that would be.
He ain't young enough
really
to form a
cool.
harem, though.
Oh, let's not.
Yeah, I went there. Yep, I did it. I said it. I said it.
You know, it would have been kind of interesting if like Zeke was also a salvager.
Yeah, that would have been alright.
Oh, yeah,
He been, like,
he
a
fits.
rival
I love
character.
the idea of Zeke being like the worst salvager.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he definitely has that vibe of like rival turned friend. I mean, they kind of already did that
Yeah,
a little
that's
bit,
pretty much
but
what they were going
if
for.
they had done that through the salvager, that would be cool too.
Yeah, even just like a little tidbit. That's all I asked for. There wasn't any of that. So, yeah.
They could have put them in the zone, just like dotted people Rex grew up with in the
Sure.
place, because we went there.
All right, Justin, you want to go next?
So while we're on the topic of Xenoblade, and kind of a similar note to like, you know, how we kind of wish we saw more backstory with Rex. I kind of wish this isn't on the dock, but it is related to something on the dock. I kind of wish we got more about the Giants, because that directly ties into Dickson's story, and we we get little bits of it here and there, but that whole plot point is very much dropped in the second half of the game, and it's just kind of like, okay, you gave this to us, and then what? Like, for a lot of the game, the biggest like tangible thing tied that we have to the Giants is Zanza when he was like chained up, and Dickson. And once Dickson's dead, that's really it. So I don't know. I just kind of wish we got more about it, because it sounded interesting, but they never really go into too much detail about it. I believe you can explore some of the Giants' ruins. So there's a little bit of environmental storytelling with that, but still, it would have been really, really cool if we got to see more of that. Maybe have a quest that kind of explores some flashbacks. Maybe, like, I don't know, you could explore Dickson's house a little bit more, and then you could see like little relics from the past that kind of tied into it. I think that would have been really, really, really neat, and it would have done wonders for developing Dickson more as a character too, and also just setting up the world.
I agree. I mean, Dickson was kind of just like this world. When you see the world, like it talks about the Titans, whatever, fight the Giants, and then when you have Dickson, like Dickson's right there. Like, one of the first characters you meet is Dickson, and then he was kind of just dropped off. Like, he was like a main character, but in the shadows, and you don't really get. Yeah, I'm with you. You don't really get too much after that, because the whole story turns into about the Monado.
This may be a hot take, but I don't like if it were me, if I was the one writing that story, I wouldn't have made Dickson a giant. I would have made him a servant of Zanza. I would not have made him a giant, because to me that just seemed like it didn't make sense. But like, what I would have done differently with Dickson is gave him an actual proper motivation, because it seemed to me throughout the whole game that his allegiances seemed to be more with the Homs, more with the with Shulk and the party, and he seemed to genuinely care, because very early on, when you're getting through the swamp or whatever the hell it's called, the bog, right before you go up the big wall, he says, "I feel bad about deceiving those kids," and like, so he's got a moral conscience. You know that he's like knows he's doing something wrong. And I like that he works for Zanza. I like that he's deceiving the party. I like he's doing bad things. But him being a giant, it feels like that was part of the story strictly for gameplay, so you have this cool boss fight with him at the end, but at what cost? His ending is unsatisfying, and ultimately his whole arc as a character is just kind of falls flat. And it's a shame because they set him up to be one of the best characters in that game. Like he has some really great memorable lines from that game, and it's just it's a shame. I feel like they really dropped the ball with him at the end.
So I like Dickson as a giant, and where it falls flat is that unfortunately we don't see where Dickson was at around the time that Arglass got possessed by Zanza, because Dickson is he's supposed to be our tie to the Giants and our tie to Zanza and the Monado, right? Because the Monado, that was it was said that the Giants had the Monado, but really it's Zanza. So at least that's what I remember. So like that could have been really interesting. And they could have told us about the Giants through Dickson, and that would have worked really well. They don't. And that's where the problems are at. And that's why I'm disappointed by it. But I personally don't mind him being a giant. I just wish that they actually gave us that context. I feel like there's an extra chapter missing. Maybe like a flashback chapter or maybe a side quest that could have fleshed that out, and that would have made that a lot better.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And just to that point, oh wait, I forgot what I was going to say. All right, go ahead, Kat.
Oh, sorry. I really think that there should have been like an extra layer of cheese in the Xenoblade lore. There were a lot of Xenosaga and Xenosaga and Xenogears people back in the day when Xenoblade 1 came out, saying, "Hey, this lore isn't deep enough. We don't like it." And I really do wish there was an interactable like layer of, hey, here's more history of the Antiquas here. And I think the Giants were also part of that thing that should have been filled in, I think.
And I don't even think they need to do that much with it. I just feel like even one side quest could have filled in a lot of that. Because at the end of the day, they're going to focus on what's happening at present, not so much what happened in the past. I mean, even the whole thing with Klaus, like, we really don't spend that much time with Klaus in Xenoblade 1, even though that event is very important. So, I don't mind some degree of ambiguity, and I think that's what they were going for. And in a lot of Xeno games, we do get a lot of ambiguity, and that's why the fandom loves doing the fandom things like that. So like, I don't mind that. I just think that in this particular case, there's like one crucial piece of the puzzle that we're missing, and that could have been given to us.
Yeah, it feels like with a lot of these characters, and I'm just gonna put this out there now, but especially with Dickson, like Dickson's the one that comes to mind the most when I say this. It feels like the ball gets dropped at the end with these characters because it feels like they just ran out of budget and they have to end the game, because that's kind of how some of these endings come off sometimes, and because of how abrupt they are, some characters, like, the writing does suffer for it a little bit. And I just that's kind of how it comes off to me, at least very much for Xenoblade 1 and for 3. I'm not done with 3 yet, but oh boy, do I feel like they're just shooing me off to the end here. But 2, a little bit like better paced towards the end, but also like there's I'm just really not fond of where we fought Amalthus, which brings us into our discussion of Amalthus. I don't know who wrote him down on the list, but
Whoa,
go ahead.
That's me.
Whoa. Oh, okay. All right, Kat. If you want, you can talk about Amalthus now.
Yes, I was going to raise my hand and pick Amalthus.
Okay,
Anyway,
all right.
So.
Just making sure.
Anthony trying to break the rules already as the agent of chaos. All right. So Amalthus, I thought that he was actually going to be a good guy at first, and he turned out to be like the bad guy of Xenoblade 2. And when I heard that there was going to be a DLC that was going to take place in like right around the time Amalthus summoned Malos, I thought Torn of the Golden Country was going to be about that. But instead, here's all of these other characters and some of these other characters that you like, but not Amalthus. So it just sort of seemed...
I apologize! I am unable to complete my mission!
God said, no.
No.
But please
Yeah,
continue.
Amalthus tried to become God, and God didn't like that, so God's a little
That's very
uncomfortable with
appropriate.
discussion of Amalthus.
I also feel like, okay, so the architect looks very similar to me as Andrew Cherenkov, even though the architect / Klaus is probably more similar in character to Krellian from Xenogears. But like, I don't know. I like the architect. He interests me visually. I like old Ben. I'm sorry. And so Amalthus's relationship with the architect, as it is absolutely none, from the architect's side, is very interesting. Amalthus has a lot of threads to him that are very similar to like Jean-Claude Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame, but they don't delve into any of it, even though they could. But also, a lot of this is my tiny little brain going, how is this gay? Because like I wanted to have seen the moment where Amalthus like summons Malos and like goes through this thing, well, like, why aren't you a pretty girl like Mithra? What's wrong with mine? And that, I don't know how like heteronormative the Indolite religion is, but and I know like it's probably for the best that people tell less of these types of stories, but I wanted to know a lot more about Malos and Amalthus in terms of their like relationship to each other, because it's definitely absolutely nothing like Rex's and Pyra's. But now I've run out of words, so people put their hands up.
I feel like Amalthus, and this is on a completely different like note than what you were talking about. I understand what you're saying, but for me, I just wanted Amalthus to like, I don't know, not be a dick. Like I'm just so very, very tired of the religion bad trope. And the moment I saw Amalthus introduced in Xenoblade 2, I kind of like had a feeling, but then initially he was really good to the party, and I was like, oh, maybe they're going to take this in a different direction than the tried and true and very, very tired, direction that I'm used to seeing these JRPGs go in. And it didn't. He does the heel turn and everything, and it plays out exactly like I thought it was going to. And he even ends up being the final boss, and one of the final bosses. And I just, I don't know. I would have actually like had him be altruistic. I would have had him acknowledge that he used to be a dick. He fucked up in the past. He's the reason Malice is destroying the world. But him having like really changed over the years and trying to, make up for it and be a better person, as opposed to just going down the same road we've seen all of these other characters that are similar to Amalthus go down. But which would have given like more vacancy for Malos and Jin to have more presence as bad guys, but more so for Malos, because it's, to this day, I still feel like that Malos didn't deserve the position of final boss, because he always felt like a lackey. The only time he didn't feel like a lackey was in Torna, and that was the only time I really like perceived him as like a big bad evil guy. But I don't know. That's just me. But yeah, that's what I would have done different with Amalthus, is I would have had him go in a complete 180 direction that Takahashi took him in. Mostly just because I'm exhausted of characters like Amalthus and places like Indolline, where all the characters are like, oh, look at this place, it's deeply religious and it's nice. Oh, what do you know? They're bad. What a shock! Who could have ever seen this coming? But yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I was hoping that they would do something with him in Torna but which it seemed like they were going to, but then it just like kind of, no, he faded into the background even more so, and there's stuff with him and Minoth that could have been really interesting to dive into, but they didn't really do it. But so that's, yeah, very disappointing.
What I wish we got to see with Amalthus is we did see a little bit, I think it was in Torna at the end of it, where we saw like the turning of like how he had saw humanity as a good thing, and then he changed, saw it as more of a negative thing. I think if we saw a little bit more about his childhood growing up or whatnot, it might have explained a little bit more how he turned bad so quickly, if that makes any sense at all. Like, maybe he had some PTSD that we don't know about. Like, just because he also, like, I picked him up as a bad guy right away, when I saw all the refugees in his palace, or lack of better term. And they're saying, "Oh, he's so good. He turned us in." All, but you see all these refugees, and they're living in tents and whatnot. So, there had to have been something in his past that I wish was highlighted, to explain like why he's treating people like this, how he turned bad so quickly. But yeah, that's all I got on him. Bad guy. Need more information, but bad dude.
Okay. All right. I guess it's my turn. So I'm going to pick. All right. I'm going to do a deep cut. Not really a deep cut, but I'm going to choose Lapis Roman from Xenosaga. And
emoji clapping in the team's chat. My god.
But yeah, Lapis Roman is basically a secret agent for Helmer in the Federation government. Is that right? Where she's like,
yes,
Helmer plant.
Yes, she's one of Helmer's agents.
Yeah, and she assists with Shion and the gang. And when the Durandal is framed for destroying the Woglinde in Xenos Episode 1. And she's a really cool character because like, she's calm and in control and trying to help Shion and them, but after that whole subplot's resolved, she's gone. I think she's briefly mentioned in episode 2, like in a throwaway line, but other than that, she's just gone. So I think it would have been really cool to see more of her.
Yeah, I would love just like a cell phone game's worth of Lapis Roman lore. Like her on the side infiltrating Utic bases, running into characters that she hasn't run into before, but you have. That would have been cool.
Yeah, like a spin-off like manga even or something, where it's just all about her and her secret agent ways. Yeah, that would have been really cool. Yes, Justin.
Alright, so I'm also going to pick a character from Xenosaga, and it might be a controversial pick. but Chaos.
Chaos. Chaos.
So, I like Chaos. You like Chaos. Everybody likes Chaos. But how much do we actually get of Chaos compared to the other cast? Like, I understand that his role is to basically be the cryptic dude that knows everything but is too cool to tell everybody. But the fact that he does that for so much of the game and just like all three parts just kind of always irked me.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. It's to kind of add more mystique to him, and they do that pretty well. And that's kind of what draws me to Chaos, is that he's just so mysterious. And I want to learn more, but like I feel like I don't get more. It's like they tease me with him, and yet I never get it. Kat, do you got something to add to that?
Yes, Chaos is like if you're watching a horror film that has a monster, Chaos is the horror film monster that they never show.
Yes, that is a great
Until
way
the
to put
very
it.
end. Oh my gosh, that is perfect. Yes, Kat.
And it sucks because like when you do get Chaos, he's great, and he's awesome to use in battle too. So like, it's like the game keeps teasing you about him, but you don't ever get to see what the game is teasing you of. So it's just so annoying with Chaos. I like this character a lot, but damn it, I wanted more with him.
Y'all remember what I said about characters having shortfalls because of budget? Yeah.
Well, that goes all the way back to Xenogears and schedule. Unfortunately, a lot of these games are very ambitious, and sometimes characters get hit with not as much attention as they deserve, and Chaos is definitely one of those characters.
You could say that maybe if all 6 Saga games actually happened, Chaos might have gotten a bit more, but who knows?
Sounds to me like Chaos fills the same role as Alvis. Alvis?
I was going to call that out.
To a degree, yeah. And there have been a lot of people who made like connections and pointed out some parallels between the two.
Yeah, I'm also like, I wouldn't be surprised if he also sort of like Chaos sort of low-key counts as an Aegis or whatever passes for Aegis in the Xenoblade world or Xenosaga world.
Yeah. Well, at least Chaos got to hang out with Jesus Christ, so there's that.
There was that. He got to hang out with Jesus Christ. Alright, who wants to go next?
Excuse me, what?
Play Xenosaga.
We're not going to elaborate. B.
Alright, I'll bring it back to Blade because I've only played Blade. And I'm going to throw it back to 2, and I'm going to bring out Vess. Now, Vess is a Blade that you get to meet in Cormont. She's buying ingredients and to start her quest line. And the quest, just to refresh your memory, the quest is to bring some ingredients. And you meet her and an elderly gentleman who's kind of on his deathbed, and he has a really strong craving for chocolate, and Vess is like, no, can't eat chocolate, you're too old for that. But you go secretly to get the chocolate, and when you come back, he's dead, and Vess is a core crystal. So with that character of Vess, why I put her out is the old man, his wife died, and they had 2 children, and they have Vess kind of as like a surrogate mother, for lack of a better term. And she is there to act as, a wife and a mother for these 2 kids. And, as soon as he dies, she's gone. And as we know with Blades, when they die, they lose their memories. But there's these 2 kids that you get to meet eventually as the quest goes on, but you don't really get to hear too much of the story of how she took care of the kids, took care of the elderly gentleman. You don't get to hear too much about how this family, it was a family, the wife died, and you don't get to hear too much about how Vess was kind of the mother figure in this. All she does is make dumplings. That's all you pretty much know about her, and I just wish there was a little bit more. I mean, we could say I wish there was a little bit more for all the Blade backstories, but I think hers was the most interesting because of that family element of it. And, and especially because she loses her memory when she goes back to a core crystal, it especially hits really hard. Right? So, yeah, that's why I put her forward. And I know, like, that's part of the way that the Blades work, is they lose their memory. But, if she's been in Gormont for so long with this family, shouldn't other people know about her? Just saying.
So that's an interesting thing to bring up that I honestly haven't really thought about, and that's that the NPCs don't acknowledge the Blades a whole lot. Like, just like random NPCs.
It's almost like part of the game.
Say they ran out of budget again.
No. I was gonna say it's almost like they live in a society where Blades aren't viewed as people and are viewed more as property.
Yeah, but this one,
there's an entire organization that's out to free all Blades from mankind or something like. I don't know.
But this one was unique. It was a family, right? She was a family, assuming that she went every week or so to get ingredients to buy stupid dumplings. Like, you would think that the whole city would know her, but there's no mention.
And I mean, also, like, they should mention Blades because, like, the driver, the whole, like, driver thing, remember earlier on where you had people trying to resonate with their core crystals? That was, like, a public event. So, like...
They should be aware of it.
Yeah. That's actually a really good point, B. Like, maybe there are, like, NPCs who do, but, like, when I think about it, a lot of, like, they're just the random NPCs in the world. A lot of them don't acknowledge the Blades.
I have a question, because I did get Vess, but she doesn't have, like, a affinity quest after you get her, does she, or does she?
She does, and it's to learn more about the two children with this dude. But that's it. It's very weak. It's very weak.
I know, Vess unfortunately had that very fun affinity chart. Making all the dumplings.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's why I didn't get it.
Or onigiri, whatever.
Sir, they're jelly-filled donuts.
Yeah. But, yeah, I like, remembering all the other Blades that I've unlocked, which I wish I unlocked them all, I haven't. By far, her story, her affinity quest, her story is, I think, in my opinion, the weakest. Like, they did a good job with, like, Aurora and, what that asshole, Degas or whatever his name is, trying to find his lost kingdom, but Vess, like, she would have had the most heavy backstory, and it was a major letdown. Especially that no one remembers her in Gormont. It's like, they all had their mind erased. Go ahead, Kat.
I think, I really do think, because I never got to play the Affinity Quest, so I'm on the same knowledge level as Tyler here, but it feels like they started out Vess wanting her to be the main, like, in the main cast, like, because that's like a main cast level, like, hit, like, emotional hit. So I was surprised that she wasn't a story Blade. And it sucks that they just sort of, like, left it there. I think Xenoblade 2, I think either right before or right after Xenoblade 2 came out, my grandfather on my mother's side died, and he had been suffering from dementia for years, and a lot of like a lot of the stuff that Blades go through with trying to recall their memories or losing their memories pings on a lot of, oh hey, this person who is older, who I've known all of my life, suddenly doesn't remember me as much. And that, like, Vess's story there with the kids, that would have, like, like, had I played it, been like, okay, I want a whole game about this now.
Wow, that's a really good point.
It was just very sad.
Okay. Alright, who wants to go next? Well, if no one goes next, I'll go. I'm gonna stick to Xenogears and Xenosaga since not everyone is as familiar with these characters, so they don't have to force to be talked about later. Okay. I choose from Xenosaga Orgulla, which oh, Justin, I'm sorry. Did you have something to say?
Oh no, you can go. I'll go right after you then.
Oh, I apologize.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, so yeah, I choose Orgulla. She is a minor character from Xenosaga Episode 2. She is a basically a nun, part of the the Ormus Church? No. Yes?
Yes.
Kat. Okay, thank you, Kat. You are someone I must confirm things with. But yeah, she is a nun with the Ormus Church, and kind of like, I don't want to say the exact right hand of the Patriarch Sergius, but yeah, she's a minor villain in episode 2, and you fight her at one point, and it's a very, very difficult fight. I've probably talked about this before, but you don't really learn too much about her besides she looks cool, but also she has multiple personalities. And then she switches between these personalities during battle, which they didn't really discuss that outside of battle. At least I don't remember. It's been like so long since I've played episode 2. But it just really, she has so much, I don't know, potential to be explored more, because when she's switching between personalities in battles, she has this, she says something like "damn you, seller," or "curse you, sellers," which is another character in Xenosaga. I'm like,
what I forgot about that.
Right? I was like, what? Why is she cursing sellers? What did sellers do to her? I'm like,
yeah, that's such an important lore drop.
Right? Like, you could have just not said anything and just switched between personalities, but there's something like he either experimented on her or she's I don't know. It's like there's so much that could be explored with her character, even though she's like such a minor villain. But it's just like that little nugget right there is just like there was something there, and I just wish they explored it. But after you beat her, I don't think there's even like a death scene. I think the cast just moves on. So yeah,
cool. So I guess I will go now.
Yeah, go ahead.
So let's see, because there's a couple that I can talk about. So I'm like trying to pick which one I want to talk about next. Oh boy, we'll stick with Saga. T-elos, and I think we might have mentioned this before, but like, for how much T-elos has been hyped up throughout the series, and how much he was advertised, and how much she even gets referenced after the fact, she's like barely in Saga 3.
Agreed.
You get a really cool fight scene. Like, don't. I'm not even gonna play. Like, that fight scene was awesome, but other than, kind of a cool boss fight, you really don't get much. She's in, she's out. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about T-elos.
Okay. Do you have something to say about T-elos, Cat?
Merchandising. They sure did
yes.
merchandise the hell out of Telos.
Yes, they did, but it's just like they advertised and marketed the hell out of her only to not do much with her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of a shame. It's like, they could have picked another character to market.
Yeah, but it's easy because from a model maker's standpoint, Telos is just a recolor.
Basically.
Yeah.
She's a player to KOS-MOS.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is going to be a hot take, but she kind of reminds me of how... well, maybe it's not the same. I was going to compare it to, like, Mari from the rebuild of Evangelion movies, how she's just kind of there most of it, and, I mean, she has her moments, but it's like, she's there for figurines. But Telos, yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like, we get more of Telos through side games than we get in the entirety of Xenosaga. I mean, we get that little nugget, that little reference in episode 1, which is like cool, but then we didn't hear it. Didn't really pay off until episode 3. So I feel like they definitely should have, like, along with that little nugget in episode 1, maybe have something in episode 2, like either hinting more about her, or she shows up like in a post-credit scene or something, and then definitely have been more present in episode 3. It's cool she was in Xenoblade 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in some spin-off games, I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah, sometimes she was buddies with KOS-MOS, so that was kind of funny, seeing them interact with each other.
Mm-hmm. I know, it's exhausting to talk about her.
Yeah, it's sad, but oh well. Anthony, you haven't chosen a character in a while, have you?
Yeah, not gonna lie, probably gonna run to the bathroom for a little while, but carry on.
Oh, okay. Then who would like to? Yeah,
Kat? Stay on the Saga Gears train.
Yeah.
Well.
Let's see. How about Richard and Hermann?
Yeah.
Richard and Hermann. I did not realize. Richard is the little blonde, wavy-haired guy.
Mm-hmm.
Hermann is the big guy in the green suit. Mm-hmm. I did not realize that Richard was, I think he was like 16 or 17.
He was very young. Yeah.
Yeah. But like in the dub, when you hear their voices, it doesn't come across at all.
No.
For people who don't know, there is a character named Pellegri introduced in Xenosaga 1, and she's Margulis's attaché, and Margulis is sort of like the leader of this branch of this paramilitary religious cult that has weapons and stuff, and Pellegri is a second in command of this guy, and in Xenosaga 2 they give her pets and those pets are Richard and Hermann. At first, when Xenosaga 2 the game came out, there was no like extra material about them. We did not get to see their faces until the DS game. All they were a pair of voices and some mechs to fight. And I don't think they got 3D model portraits in Xenosaga 3.
No.
But their little portrait like things were the pink static and the green static, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because this is another one where, well, because the main games, they don't get much attention, but as you said, with Xenosaga 1 and 2, you actually get to see their character model, or what they look like outside of their mechs, and I know they're in the drama CDs, which I remember is interesting because I remember I think Hermann was an Was he an
Yeah, he was
ex-Federation
an
soldier?
ex-Federation.
He was in the military with Captain Matthews, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think Captain Matthews mentions that in Xenosaga 1, but I don't think he mentions that he knows Hermann in particular.
Right. Yeah, there's something there, and it's like and then I don't remember exactly because doesn't Hermann protect Richard because he's like connected to their family somehow?
Yes,
Or
yes, I believe
yeah.
Richard comes from an old Ormus family,
Mhm.
and Richard's family is also an old Ormus family, but it's the old Ormus family without money who are servants.
Hmm.
So Hermann is essentially Richard's butler, like battle butler, but they're both battle guys.
Yeah. So there's definitely they have a lot of potential, and would have been cool in episode 3 if there's like more of an emotional impact to their death.
Yeah,
Because
because like they were still in those joke portraits, like dying.
yeah, like I didn't even think they would appear in episode 3 because I think when the last fight with them in episode 2, I don't think there's a cut scene afterwards or saying, "Oh, they got away" or anything like that. They just disappear. It was like, were they dead?
Classic Xenosaga 2.
Yeah.
I also missed the chance to comment on Orgulla because I thought Justin was also going to add to Orgulla, but he chose Telos instead. Let's see. Orgulla, I think she's either, I think she's a cyborg, which makes her sort of close to Ziggy. I could be remembering wrong.
That would make sense.
Okay, yeah, and I think the thing that she has out for Sellers is I think she got her robot parts and her second personality from Sellers.
Like he did a half-assed job, and she's like cursing him for.
Yeah, and I think Orgulla was Sergius's bodyguard, so I kind of, in my mind, the blueprint for her sort of like pings on Mara Jade from the Thrawn books in Star Wars, which were written 20 years ago, and I don't expect anybody to get that reference at all, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Someone will get that reference.
Cool. I'm done.
Anybody else had anything about Richard and Hermann, or are we good to move on?
I'd say we're good to move on.
Okay. Let's see. Is Anthony back, or are you still gone?
I think he'll let us know when he's back.
Fair. Then who wants to? B. Do you want to go next? I don't think I've heard from you.
Sure. Yeah. Again, I can only comment on Blade. I'm sorry.
That's totally fine.
Yeah. The other one I put forward was, for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is Chris or Console C. The idea, like when he was introduced, once we find out it's actually Chris, the mentor of Noah, I actually liked the idea of having the mentor as a console of Noah, so we would have the close interaction between main character and possibly like a really good friend of main character. However, it felt very, very, very flat. Chris ended up, to me anyway, seeming like a stalker. That he was so obsessed with Noah, obsessed with him to find his own sound, that he decided to come have his, eternal forever is to stalk and watch Noah from a distance. And, that sounds like a very lame way to stay around forever, is to stalk somebody. I mean, initially, I'm sure there was a very, like, strong heart-to-heart that he wanted to take Noah under his wing, be that mentor, but then to take that too far to live forever, it just felt really weird and creepy. Although, arguably, I find his theme is my favorite soundtrack of the game. But it was very one note, very lame, very, yeah, again, creepy, gave me the creeps. Yeah, I did not like him in the end as a console. So, yeah.
So for me with Chris, I initially thought that he might be a descendant of Shulk. But I thought that's what they were going to take the story, but they didn't. Especially considering that's kind of what they were doing with Mio, but
That would have been interesting.
yeah. Or who knows? Maybe they'll reveal that in the DLC.
Ooh.
Who knows? Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
Chris. Oh, go on.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to agree with you. Chris was definitely a wasted potential.
Yeah.
As we kind of mentioned in our queer theory episode last time, there was something there that we possibly between him and Noah, but when you think of him being as a mentor, that it does make that creepy. Along with him, just his story does come off as very creepy. But also, why wait like 50 hours into the game to really get to know this character? It's Futaba from not Futaba.
I thought you were going to say Haru.
Haru, thank you. I was thinking of Haru from Persona 5 all over again. But I haven't played.
Okay, good news. Back from the bathroom. Bad news. Jojo is asking to go outside to go to the bathroom. So I got to take him out. I'll be back in a little bit.
Okay. Good luck.
You're leaving that in there, right?
I'm leaving it in.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, crap. Thanks, Anthony, for disrupting my thought. I felt like they could have done a lot more with the character. Like, yeah, leaving it, like you said, 50 hours in. Be like, surprise, I'm your mentor. I want to hear your sound, and now I'm dead. Like,
yeah.
It was wasted time, especially for Noah's Ascension quest. It was such a waste of time. Like, you could have bumped that up when you're having some of these other characters realize, that they had to start to realize who these consoles are, and that they live forever. Like, you could have done that right away, but no, you left it to later, and then you rip the weak Band-Aid off, and give me bad vibes.
Agreed. They could have done so much better with Chris.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, well, Anthony's not back yet, so who wants to go next?
I could probably jump in with another Blade. Not Blade, but Blade character.
Sure, go ahead.
Let me pick Sharla from Xenoblade Chronicles 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Sharla's the one character that you get, like, the gunner healer person. And I did like Sharla as a character. However, the only part that I get from her is, other than that the colony got destroyed, and that she had her little brother, and that she lost her. I'm thinking about the right character, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Husband, boyfriend, potential husband, the dude. You don't really get to know much about her other than very surface level stuff. I mean, the other person you get in your party, you get Ricky, you get Ryan, and I find you get more from Ryan and Ricky than you do from Sharla. That's just my take on it. I mean, I like to use her as a character, but personality, story-wise, I don't know a whole lot other than that she mourns for her partner, lack of a better term.
I agree with that. And I think we've spoken about that before. Like, what's there with Sharla? I actually quite like her, and I like her story. I just kind of don't like how Ryan is basically a rebound.
Yeah,
I
he's
feel
the
like that was a
replacement
bit.
goldfish.
Yeah, I felt like that could have been handled a little bit better.
Mhm.
But like otherwise, and it's sad because I otherwise do like Sharla, and I actually am not even opposed to her and Ryan as a couple. I think they actually complement each other really, really, really well. I just wish that it happened on better terms,
Mm-hmm.
or that
Yeah.
maybe her and Ryan got a little bit more before they really started to push them together.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
needed more
Xenoblade.
time.
Yeah, Xenoblade 1 needs like a 10-year time skip in it.
See, I don't think they tried to push them together. I see them more as like a brother-sister kind of relationship. But that's just me.
I mean, that's probably how Sharla sees it.
Yeah.
I definitely got the impression that Ryan was not interested in being brother sister with Sharla.
Yeah.
But that's just my take.
Yeah,
just,
and like another part of it that was kind of just like, why was Sharla's boyfriend? His name was Otharon, right?
Wasn't that
No,
that was
that-
Gado?
No, Gado. No, Otharon was the
Gado.
other guy. Sorry. Yes, Otharon was the other guy. Gado. The thing that really like had me being like, ugh, I don't know how I feel about that is after you fight Gadol and Gadol's all like telling Ryan's like, "Yo, take care of my girl." It's just like, okay, dude.
yeah. It's very weird.
All right, you're just passing her over to him. Cool.
Yeah. Can I just add another character too, like just quickly, like related to his Juju? Yeah, I want to know more about him a little bit. He, he can't handle himself, and then he wants to rebuild the colony, and that's it.
And for what it's worth, he does a decent job at that, actually. If you do that quest.
Yeah. But if he did do the quest, he's irrelevant. Like he's just that lost kid
Yeah.
that needs saving.
Yeah, he could have had, like, he serves his purpose fairly well, but, yeah, if you're just going by the main story, yeah, he absolutely could have had more.
Yeah, just a little bit to that lonely lost kid that doesn't know how to fight himself.
Child that's constantly in distress.
Yeah, when I first played through Xenoblade 1, I really didn't do a whole lot of the Colony 6 stuff, and, I didn't care for Juju, but when I went back to it, and I actually made an effort to work on Colony 6, I saw what they were doing with him, and I can appreciate him a little bit more.
Yeah, but like what that you do with Colony 6 is very optional. So.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's only because I went out of my way to do some of that. I'm like, okay, I get it now. But if you didn't do that, sure.
And that's my take on those two. Yeah.
Kat, do you want to choose the next character?
Sure. Is Ant still out?
I'm gonna imagine that he'll let us know when he's back.
Okay. All right. So while he's out, let's talk about Patriarch Sergius. I didn't even get to him in my playthrough of Xenosaga 2 because I am a fake fan and never finished Xenosaga 2. I apologize and I present myself for self-flagellation or whatever.
No.
But Patriarch Sergius would probably want me to do that, so I won't do that. There was a lot of I was very excited about like promotional material for Xenosaga 2. I was hype for the idea of a character that Margulis reported to, and I really wish I had more patience to get through more of Xenosaga 2 because I think where I left off, it felt like they were just about to go into some like environmental storytelling with the people that one of my favorite characters, like, grew up with. And Sergius, you can't be like childhood best friends with the Pope, but I I think he's something like 79 or something, but like I was excited for this character, and I'm not surprised that he came off very flat. But he seemed, as expected for bad guy religion Pope.
Yeah, like you don't even get to know his name until like episode 3, I think, because in episode 2 he's just referred to as just simply the Patriarch.
Oh my god.
And well, I think in the Japanese version it was actually Pope, so he's the space Pope. but yeah, that's all his name is. And I remember, I think Pied Piper has one of his ancestors in it, like his grandfather or something.
That's cool. I like that.
Which is cool, but then yeah, he's just the generic evil baddie of episode 2, when we really already have a lot of baddies to begin with.
Yeah, because I think by the time episode 2 came around, I think they really had invented more villains than could fight Batman at the same time and not be overwhelming.
Right.
Because we have the Gnosis, we have Ormus, we have the RTVs / Albedo, and it's just a lot. It's too much.
Right. So yeah, this guy was just very flat and awful, so it might have been better just to cut him entirely, or I don't know, just make him better somehow.
Yeah, I think sometimes with these like very large series, some of the to make the main characters stand out, there's a lot of like little like background characters with little to no depth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of like it pushes everybody up a level, but there's somebody who cares about literally every character in everything. And
well, please reach out to us, Patriarch Sergius fan 101. I don't know.
Yes, please. I'm praying.
Maybe it's the same person who loves Lorithia. All right.
Have no fear, guys, because Patriarch fan Sergius1001 at AOL.com is here to answer your questions.
Just in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. Also, wow, fake fan. I'm kidding. So, did I miss any Xenoblade characters?
You missed
missed
Sharla and
I don't think I would have.
Juju and Console C.
Yes.
I don't think I would have done anything different with Sharla, so I don't really have anything to add there. I actually was really satisfied with Sharla. And Chris, who's Chris? As far as I'm concerned, there is no Chris. That character doesn't exist because literally how would you make Chris better? Take Chris out of the game. That's how I would make Chris better. Like, totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
Completely and totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the conclusion you guys reached, but that's my conclusion. Chris doesn't need to exist.
My conclusion is that he could have served the purpose, and I thought they were going to do something kind of interesting with him. There was something I had in mind with him, but they didn't, or at least they haven't yet.
There needed to be a little bit more substance.
Yeah. I mean, he would have worked just fine. I don't think he's a useless character, but they definitely could have used him better.
All right.
That's it. That's all for Blade.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you like to choose our next character, Ant?
Sure, just give me 2 seconds to pull the list back up.
Okay.
It's my Blade, buddy.
Okay, so I want to talk a moment about from Xenoblade Chronicles 1. Let's talk about... Gonna bring her up. Robin, I know you're listening. I'm sorry. We're going to talk about Lorithia. Lorithia shows a lot of promise as a villain. They set her, like, from the get-go, they set her up, and, like, immediately, I don't trust her. And then, after Melia's thing in the tomb and all that other stuff, that's it. Like, until the end of the game, she just comes back, and she's one of the big three, we'll call it. Except, she shows up for a boss fight, does some really weird shit with Melia's brother, and then that's it. Like, you had the potential here to make this a really, truly contemptible character. And she is, but for all the wrong reasons. And I feel like there was a lot of potential to make her, like, truly hateable. And this kind of is how I feel about, like, I feel like a symptom of this, the cause of this, is because Melia herself falls to the wayside in Xenoblade Chronicles. Like Dickson is to Shulk what Lorithia should have been to Melia, but wasn't. And that's because it feels like they ran out of budget, they ran out of time, they couldn't flesh things out as much as they wanted to. And as a result, Lorithia as a villain suffered completely for it, to the point where she's just a hill to get over. And what I would have done is A, ask for more budget, and B, if that wasn't possible, I would have at least just given her more dialogue, more scenes where she shows up and, like, taunts the party, taunts Melia, like have her do what she does. What's Melia's brother's name? It starts with a K, I think.
Callian.
Callian. Have her like torture Callian or something like that. Really, like, light a fire under Melia's ass. Like, make her a truly hateable villain, and then do what that weird shit at the end, and, like, have that be, like, what it all builds up and leads to. And that would, in my opinion, solidify Lorithia as a much better villain. It would at least bring her up to on par with Dickson and Alvis as, like, one of the big three. And it just, it's like, it's almost like, I feel like it's kind of like how I feel about Chris. Like, you could have had, I don't know, a part of the building fall on her after Melia's tomb. She's not one of the big three, and she's not in any of the end game at all. And it would have been, and instead, inside the Bionis, you just fight some, like, internal immune system like thing, and replace that fight with altogether, and Kellyanne just gets caught up in it, and it would have had the same emotional impact. So that's what I feel like. It feels like you had a lot of potential with Lorithia. Like, I mean it. Like, I hated her from the get-go. The moment they introduced her, I'm like, oh, this bitch is trouble. But it falls short because it feels like they just don't give her enough time to shine as a villainess. I will now open the floor to comments.
Yeah, I honestly forgot who that character was. That's how bad of a villain she was. I had to, like, look her up. I'm like, oh yeah, that broad. Even when I played the game, like, when we first saw her, I'm like, I don't like her. And I totally forgot who she was until she merged and did that weird thing. Like, oh yeah, now that's who you are. Now I really don't like you because you're weird. Like, there wasn't enough substance. I agree with you, for me to hate her as a villain as much as I hated Dickson. Like, she's just weird, and I didn't really, get a sense of why she was a villain until, like, she's like, oh, I'm part of Zanza's crew. I'm like, oh, yeah, so what's your point? Like, yeah, she's creepy.
I guess I can go. I will say Lorithia certainly is a female character who is a sexual harasser. Usually when we get characters like that, they're male. That is different, but that doesn't really make me like her. And that's saying this. I'm usually a villains person. Like I grew up with Maleficent as, you know, sort of the house goddess of, you know, like, hey, this is cool. I feel like they really
Hell
did not.
yeah.
Thanks. They really didn't really know what they were going to do with Lorithia, so I think the Callian thing feels like a snap decision to like make her look disgusting. And I don't know. It's like, hey, we have this slot here. What should we design for it? And nobody had any ideas but that one.
Yeah, I agree. She is a disgusting character, but she doesn't. Yeah, she definitely could have been dug deeper into.
Lorithia could have been. She could have been like a really cool Doranjo-esque character, like that Ojo-sama kind of villain that you get in a lot of anime.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's what they were going for with her. Mm-hmm. And I personally like that type of villain. I always think they're pretty fun. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, she's not giving enough time or even the lackeys to become that character. Lorithia needed minions, like actual minions. That'd have been really fun.
That would have been fun.
But she's not given that. And I think it would have been interesting if like she stalked the team and like trolled them at various parts of the adventure. I think that could have been cool too. Ooh. So it's like, I don't hate Lorithia. I really don't. I know that's kind of been the joke with the podcast, but yeah, I really don't hate her. I think that she's underbaked.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly how I feel. I get that it's a running gag in the podcast to hate Lorithia, but I don't feel that way. It's more like, this is a character that didn't do anything for me. I see a character, when I think about Lorithia, I think about a character that had serious potential to be a really bad person, like a really bad villain that like could have been so much more, infinitely more than what she turned out to be. And yeah, I mean, I really would have liked that, because villains like Lorithia fascinate me. They are interesting to me. But when it's poorly executed, it just comes off as, well, gross. And that's just kind of where it is. It's just kind of, like you said, half-baked and not great.
Yeah. I think they could have made her a little bit more fun. Just make her over the top. Make her troll the team. Give her minions.
Hey, what was Melia's mom's name? The adoptive one that hated her and tried to get her killed?
It was Yumea.
Okay. She's not on the document, but can we also talk about that for a second? Because, like I know I'm kind of like double picking here, and I apologize, but like, I just remembered this. Like, literally, Melia's adoptive mother is so forgettable to me that, like, I just remembered, oh, wait, yeah, that was a thing. Which means that this is also another character that had potential and setup to be something way more than what she was, which, again, going back to Melia here, Melia herself kind of fell to the wayside in Xenoblade Chronicles. And it's such a damn shame, because the High Entia as a whole are such a fascinating race. They are such a fascinating people. And I really, really liked what they did, and then their connection to the Telethia and all of that. It was just really cool. I really wish that there had been more time to expand on all of that. And they were doing a great job when you're on the Bionis' head, but then you leave and you go to the Mechanis, and it just, all of that goes away. And it's like, all that world building feels like it amounted to nothing almost. And that's one of the things about Xenoblade Chronicles 1 that just boggles my mind, is how they they fumbled it like this. And I really wish that they could just go back and, like, I don't know, maybe Xenoblade Chronicles 1 should have been split over 2 games. Maybe that's like what should have been done to allow things to be fleshed out more. But I know that Takahashi had a bad history with things being split over multiple episodes.
I find that Yumea, yeah, her only point of the game was to add a plot point to say, oh, Melia is going to be the next successor, and she's a half breed, so I don't like that. That's the only reason that she's in that game, is to be like, yeah, Melia, I don't like Melia as the next one, like, just to create a little bit of chaos in the high end. Yeah.
So I don't mind Yumea because, well, yeah, she's kind of what kind of kicks Melia's arc in motion, and she doesn't really get too much focus. I think they gave her just enough, personally, because while, yeah, she exists to just kind of be like, I hate Melia because she's mixed, that's realistic. Like, there are people out there who literally hate Melia, literally hate, like, a mixed kid just based on that. And I think they gave Yumea just enough. Like, for me, at least, when I saw that, I'm like, yeah, that works. That's believable. I don't think Yumea really needs to be any more than that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's very realistic, and like how, you know, some like families are like gotta keep the bloodline clean, or for like royal families and whatnot. So that it is realistic. I was about to suggest that maybe they should have merged Yumea and Lorithia, but then I realized
I was about to say the same thing.
But also, like, that gets even grosser.
Yeah.
Oh, that do be getting grosser. But
it would have been hilarious.
But you know what, though? We keep saying that, oh, that's so gross, that's so gross. But is it really gross considering what else we've seen in this series?
No,
that's true.
No,
also,
I mean, that is
not at all.
Like, if we're sitting here and we're being and we're going to be adults about this and just be completely honest with ourselves, not even in the slightest.
Like,
no.
Okay, because
No,
we're using all these languages against, like, freaking Lorithia, but we're not going to say that about some of these other villains that we love.
Oh no, I mean, definitely, there's definitely some villains that are also gross, but also they're villains for a reason. So that makes yeah. Let's see. Do we have time for one more, or?
Yeah, I would say. Well, yeah. Let's do one more. Why not?
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna end us on a spicy take.
Go for it.
And I'm going to suggest KOS-MOS from Xenosaga. Now, I know she's the poster child of the Xenosaga series. She's had millions of figures. That's hyperbole, but she's had a lot of figures, a lot of merchandise. But she's like asleep for half the series. And I sometimes tell this joke where, because there's a KOS-MOS card in Baten Kaitos, it does absolutely nothing, and that's just what KOS-MOS does in Xenosaga. She does nothing. She does do stuff. It's again hyperbole, but she is asleep for most of the series, and I wanted more of her. What do other people think?
I mean, I agree with you. I would have wanted like a couple less figures if I got more lore KOS-MOS.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like before I joined the fandom, she made me gay, and I'm gay no matter what because I'm non-binary. But like when I was still figuring myself out, part of my problem was, is it okay for Cat to like girls? And KOS-MOS kind of like solidified it, and I do feel like she got the short end of the stick as far as her own autonomy, like within the series. The like there's a lot said, there's a lot around KOS-MOS, but it's a shell. It's a beautiful shell, but it's kind of, they didn't do a lot with her.
Can I add a little comment as an outsider here who's never played that game?
Sure.
But I've watched the videos. I know who KO-S-MOS is. I could identify her in a picture, but I have no idea why you're all obsessed with her.
I will find that out one. I echo B's thoughts a little bit here, but I will find that out eventually when I get around to playing Xenosaga. That said, though, I relate to you, Kat. I was 12 years old when I got my first issue of Game Informer, and they were doing a preview of Xenosaga episode 1 or 2. I can't remember which one it was. I'm pretty sure it was 1. And I saw art of KO-S-MOS, and I was 12 years old, and yeah, that was my awakening.
There's your gay awakening.
It was right there where I was like, huh, guess I'm straight.
Well, I was gonna say to be like, I mean, honestly, she looks cool. Like, I'm pretty sure that's how a lot of people got into it. Just like, oh yeah, that's kind of a cool android robot.
Sure. She looks cool. I could point her out in a lineup, but I don't know anything else than that.
Yeah, she looks cool. She's got some great scenes.
Yeah, she's got some really cool fight scenes.
But that's my point. Like, I know nothing about her. Like, I don't know a story or anything, even from watching the games. Like, I got nothing. Other than, like, she looks cool. She holds a pretty big gun. That's it.
Well, she has some interesting backstory, but it's only revealed near the end of the series, and that's very unfortunate that they waited till, like, the last dungeon to, like, explore her further.
But it's also, like, I guess for me, I really liked seeing KO-S-MOS learn.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's the thing that made her arc compelling to me, at least, is I loved seeing her, like seeing KO-S-MOS go from somebody who just didn't really empathize with people and their feelings, like in the very, very, very beginning of the game where she kills and Shion scolds her, and KO-S-MOS was like, well, I needed to do that. That was the best way to keep everybody safe. I calculated it, but Shion was just like, no, like, that's not the point. You still did a bad thing. And by the end of the game, like, you even see it in KO-S-MOS' voice. Like, she starts off very robotic, and then by the end of the series, she sounds a lot more human. And that's one of the things that I really like about KO-S-MOS, at least.
Yes, Kat.
I had a feeling. I had a feeling growing up that KO-S-MOS' like arc is that it's like she is, as time goes on, blurring the line between android and human, and I love stories like that. And I don't know. I don't know why I had a PS2 growing up. I could have gotten into those games on numerous occasions, and truth be told, I don't know why I ever did, but it's one of those things where, like, that sort of shit's right up my alley, and I really like stuff like that. Ghost in the Shell, there's this arc in Ghost in the Shell. It's a subplot in, I believe, I want to say it's the second season. I can't remember. But there's this Tachikoma that, like, goes from being just a Tachikoma to, by the end, like, it feels alive and like a person, and it's, like, even emoting and showing emotion. And then it experiences death, and it is just the saddest fucking thing. And, like, it's kind of like that. Like, that's what made me realize, like, I love shit like that.
Yeah, one of the things that helped me understand and come to like KO-S-MOS is that she's kind of like the female equivalent of Mr. Data from Next Generation Star Trek. To an extent, also possibly Spock from the original Star Trek. And a lot of people kind of did not have a whole lot of like female characters with flat tones of voices, unfeminine ways of acting, despite having female bodies. KOS-MOS is a really gorgeous juxtaposition of like absolute hard ass stuck in the Barbie doll body. And I love that she sort of like crashes in on a lot of like expectations. Like they could have made KOS-MOS like polite and maidly, but KOS-MOS is actually she is an emerging artificial intelligence on top of starting out with a human soul as her spark. And there's a difference between KOS-MOS, Mary Magdalene, and Unawakened KOS-MOS, and Unawakened KOS-MOS is just extremely interesting on an emotional level to me, because she has to be taught to do a suboptimal thing to not kill people. And I found that very interesting.
She has some unintentional sass to her, and I like that. Mostly in episode 1. I love KOS-MOS. I just wanted more of her. But
She also has to get cleaned.
She does. She does. That 5%. Just, she needs that 5% cleaned. Okay. Well, definitely we're not finishing this list tonight. So this is going to be part 1 of our characters that Takahashi forgot. I should stop pointing fingers at Takahashi. This is all in fun.
Yeah, we should probably like front load that.
No, Takahashi's hurt us enough. We can absolutely point fingers at him.
You know, like these games, they're not like every line of code isn't written by the director. So
yeah. So we will definitely have some more characters, because we didn't even touch Xenogears or Xenoblade X. So we got plenty of characters, so there will be a part 2 of this episode. Do we still want to go around and discuss what you guys are up to?
Sure.
Let's see. I know, Ant, you're low on time, so you go first.
Well, I'm gonna plug the channel playing and finishing Retro. We're gonna finish Retro Roulette finally. We're gonna put an end to the channel.
No.
We are going to, and by we I mean I am gonna finish Xenoblade 3 real fucking soon. I think it's gonna be the next 1 or 2 streams, God willing. But according to y'all, I'm pretty damn close to the end. And then what I'll do off stream is I'll probably go back and do some quests I missed. Then, this is kind of a big one. And assuming that this episode gets out in time, which I think it will, I wanted to put this out there. So, Retro Roulette is going to, on February 10th, which is the day that Hogwarts Legacy launches. Instead of buying and playing Hogwarts Legacy, I have decided that I'm going to give that game the finger. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to host a charity event on our channel. And what we are going to be doing is we are going to be raising money for pro-trans organizations. And we are going to be playing games that we're marathoning that were created by trans creators, feature trans characters, things like Celeste, the Bloodborne, PlayStation 1 demake, games, like that. And we're going to be doing that. That will be taking place on February 10th. We might extend it into a second day, but look forward to that. I think that's about it. So I'll pass it off to Justin.
Yeah, so I am back to streaming as well. Yesterday I started with Ape Escape 3, and that's been a hell of a game. We're going to be playing some more games as well this year. I got a lot planned for y'all. Valentine's Day is coming up, so I'm absolutely doing a Valentine's Day stream. I've got games ready for that as well, so look forward to that. I am currently working on a review for River City Girls. I'm a little late on that, but hopefully I can get that out soon. And what else am I doing? That's about it.
Okay. How about you, Kat?
Oh, I am uploading my art on a new Instagram account. It's cmdr.ceylon, Commander Ceylon. I put the link in this chat here. Maybe you could attach it to the
I'll
the
put it in the show
clickable
notes.
things. I'm going through. I have like 20 plus years of things to upload. I'm not going to upload them all, but I recently I left Twitter completely, and for a while I was aimless, and I have reduced my social media presence, like just for my own mental health. But this,
Good choice.
yeah, this new account is. I genuinely missed sharing my art with people, and Instagram is the kind of place where I feel comfortable enough sharing things with. So.
Nice. Yeah, I'll be sure to put that in the show notes. And how about you, B?
I've been getting back into gaming with my Steam Deck. I'm switching between Tale of Arise. I love it.
Ooh.
It's so good. And then I had a little misfortune with my micro SD kaput. So I had to play something in the meantime while I waited for a new one to come in, and then that is, I think it's called A Hat in Time. It's plays like Mario Sunshine, where you have to collect pieces. It is absolutely adorable. I highly recommend it. It's cute. It's funny. Plays well on the Steam Deck. I've also been streaming, or starting to. I'll disclose that when I have a more regular schedule, but I am streaming the game Commander Keen, which is an oldie DOS game, but a goodie.
Cool.
As for plug, I'll plug in that roulette stuff, because that is a great cause, and I'm really happy that you guys are doing that. Like,
Yeah.
Also,
yeah, it's awesome.
Real live non-binary person. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate it.
Look, I'm not doing it for thanks. I have way too many friends that are non-binary, trans, to not make a statement about it. Like, it's just, I'm doing it because it's the right, like, for me and only me, it's the right thing to do. It's something I am compelled to do because that's just how I feel. But I hear you, and you're welcome.
Yeah.
Also, B.
Yes. Hi.
You have once again
Oh,
aligned
no.
with me.
Oh,
and
no.
have excellent tastes,
Oh,
because
no.
I have played A Hat in Time, and
It's delightful. Oh my gosh.
How far are you in the game yet?
Not too far. I just beat the first 5 levels.
Okay, but you're still in Mafia Town then.
Yes, I am still in Mafia Town.
Okay. You're you're about to, I think you're pretty close to going into my favorite area of the game. You'll know when you hear something laughing at you maniacally and calling you a fool.
Cool, because I just got just with the mustache girl. She's now not my friend anymore. So
Yeah, mustache kid or mustache girl.
Yeah.
Phenomenal game.
It's an amazing game. It's so
very
good.
humorous, very lighthearted. You're gonna have a great time.
See,
and
this is proof once again that we're twins.
Yes. I am going to caution you though.
Okay.
Some of the boss fights in that game are really fucking hard. Like, there's going to be, I'm not going to tell you give you any context for this, but when you get to the battle for award number 42, just brace yourself, because that
looking forward to that.
Took me a while.
Excellent. That makes me very happy. Oh, and one more thing.
they
go
don't tone down or pull any punches with it, which is something like I kind of appreciated, because I feel like a symptom of modern games is that they are a little too easy sometimes. But yeah, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Oh yeah. One more quick thing before we have takeaway between Anthony and I conversation. Is I just finished a cosplay. It's entered into an online cosplay convention called Kenji. It's probably gonna be Masquerade would be probably by the time this episode comes out. Wish me luck. It's Skull Kid, so wish me luck.
It looks amazing what you've posted, so I definitely you're gonna do great.
Yeah, so a lot of the hobbies that I have forgotten, rather long story short, I had a bunch of mental health stuff. Now I'm on the right track, so a lot of the hobbies that I did have in the past I'm rediscovering, and I'm enjoying life again. So
nice.
Yay.
And if you have a link to that or some,
I could probably get one for you. Yes.
Yeah, I can put that in the show notes.
Okay.
That'd be cool. Thank you. All right. As for me, I finished Live Alive and I finished Chained Echoes, two really big RPGs. I mean, well, Live Alive isn't super huge, but it left an emotional big impact on me as a person. So big in that way. So I've been just kind of stumbling around trying to figure out what to play next. I started playing this point and click game called The Excavation of Hobbs Barrow, and it's it's a really interesting game because I don't play a lot of point and click games. But this one, I played the demo on the eShop, and it's just very bizarre and creepy, and like some of the cutscenes with the game look like rotoscoped a little bit, and it looks very odd, and I'm just really digging the mystery about it. So yeah, and I've been also trying to play Metal Max Xeno Reborn, and I am terrible at it. It just kind of drops you in, but it's an interesting game. But
Oh yeah, those games are very open-ended.
Yeah, like I have like some. They did tell me like goals to accomplish, but I'm like just roaming around and like getting my ass kicked left and right, and like I don't know where I'm going. I need a better tank, and I need more friends. But there's a cute dog companion, so there's that. But yeah, two interesting games I'm starting to juggle right now. All right. Thank you everyone for this discussion. Well, it was fun, and I look forward to our second part. And before this would have been the Queer Theory Part 2 episode. So yeah, look forward to the sequel to this episode. And if you want to follow us on social media, we're on Twitter and Instagram, XenoChat Podcast. And if you want to email us and tell us what we got wrong, what we got right, it's XenoChatPodcast@gmail.com. All right. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening, everybody, and have a good night.
Have a good night.
See ya.
Take care.
Save the game?
I'd like to have a small following. I like a small following, not like fucking top of the line. No, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
What up, guys? This is Mr. Justin here, and today we're curing
Cancer.
I wasn't gonna say that because like I'd actually like that.
Me too.
I don't need a
Justin
following.
cures cancer just by smiling at the camera.
I don't. Oh, I could if I wanted to. I probably could be a pretty big.
My body isn't responding.
Content creator, but I have no interest in dealing with that community.
Justin, I'm not a community leader. Also, Justin.
Yeah, basically. I don't want to be a community leader. I always
I hate to say it to you, dude, but what you're saying you want to do is exactly that.
I guess so. God damn it.
It finally happened. I called Justin on his shit. He was less than perfect. I did it.
That was not very photogenic of you.
I had a flaw.
Oh, I thought this day would never come.
Don't try too hard.
Oh no. What?
Hello?
Did the recording cut out?
It just stopped.
Yeah,
I
did they
think
do
it
that
did.
for everybody else?
Yep. It says finish, and I have a link to download my MP3.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's about time for maintenance.
There we go.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, guys. I'm glad it didn't crash again. That was.
Yeah, it was weird.
That was weird.
I swear it was Amalthus.
It was Amalthus.
It was God trying to warn me off.
It's always Amalthus.
Mm-hmm.
Please insert disc 2.